Risk is an integral and essential part of life. You always need to risk something in order to gain something. It's like the metaphor of not plunging in. Like when you're stepping through a doorway, you have 1 foot outside the doorway, but you have 1 foot inside of the doorway. You aren't fully committed. You aren't risking anything, right? If you fail, when you're outside of the doorway, you can still come back in on the inside of the doorway. You have a safety net, and therefore there's no risk in doing it. And so recently I've been playing cards with my family after dinner. And so the card game that we play is called Big Two. It's a Cantonese game, and I just literally looked it up on Wikipedia and the rules of it, and we do play it slightly differently than how the rules are actually. And so in the game, it's all about getting rid of all your cards, and whoever does that first is the winner. And so getting rid of your cards, there's many ways to do this. There are straights, and the minimum is 5. So you can have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or you could do even more, all the way up to ace. And so the smallest number you can do, or how we play, is 2. So it can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then blah, 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 until jack, queen, king, ace. That's the biggest. You can do singles, of which 3 is the smallest and 2 is the biggest. It's kind of weird. Or if you have jokers in it, which we do, there's a small joker and a big joker, and small joker is smaller than the big joker. And then after that, there are pairs, and likewise you can do a straight with a pair. As long as you have 2, you can have 3, 3, and 4, 4, and that counts. Or you can have even longer ones. And then you have triples. You can play triples by themselves. You can do straight triples as well, like 3 9s and 3 10s, or even more if you have them. And with triples, you can also add a pair onto them. So when you play a triple, you can also add any pair of cards. And then finally there are bombs, which is a 4 of a kind, which are exceptionally rare in one deck, but if you're playing with 2 decks, it's quite easy to get a bomb. And how you play is someone starts off, and then they play whatever, let's say they play a 3, then the next person needs to play something higher than that in order to put down any cards. So if someone puts down a 3, I have to put down a 4 or higher. I cannot put down a 3. And so let's say my only single is a jack, so I play down a jack. The next person has to play a queen or higher. And let's say they play a 2. But then the next person after them doesn't have any card higher than a 2, and therefore they can skip. They can say pass. And this goes around the entire circle, and if everyone says pass, the person who says 2 can now start another round. So these are the basic rules of the game. So for one game, I was playing with my entire family, so 4 people in total. So we were playing with 2 decks of cards, just to make it more spicy. And in that one particular game, I had a couple of bombs. I don't remember exactly how many. It was probably 2 or 3. And the thing with bombs that I did not mention before is that you can play a bomb for any kind of card. Basically, if someone plays a 2, I can bomb that so that I win the round, so that I can start the new round. And so bombs are very useful because you can use them to turn the tide. You can use them to put down all your cards at once, essentially. And so back to the game. What I decided to do was I decided to split off the bomb. Right? I decided to take a card out of my 4-card bomb, or 4-card bombs, in order to, I think it was make some straights. And because I did that, because I sacrificed, I think, 2 bombs, I think I had 3. Because I did that, I ended up winning the game. Otherwise, I would have had too many single cards, and it's very hard to win a game if you have a lot of single cards, unless you start the round every single time. And so this is a risk that I took, and I was rewarded for it. The same thing goes when you are asking a girl out. You're taking a risk. There's always the chance that you're going to be rejected. Right? There's always going to be a chance that she's going to say no. She's going to tell you not interested. She's going to tell you maybe you're ugly. I don't know. But there's always the chance that you can succeed. There's always a chance, however low it may be. And this is especially true for cold approaches. Cold approaches, it really firms you up really quickly because 90% of the girls will reject you. But you need to keep focus on the 10% that don't, because those are the successes. And without taking the risk, without enduring the 90%, you can't get the reward from the 10%. The same is true when you're texting girls. If you don't take any risks with your texting, you'll end up being dry. Right? It won't be fun. You won't flirt with them really. You'll just basically be a friend to them. You won't dare to say things that would make her dislike you. Like, oh my goodness, I said this, I offended her. She's angry at me, she's irritated at me, she's annoyed at me. Just very recently, like yesterday, something just clicked in my mind. And it was that the girls that I attracted the most weren't just attracted to me. They were also annoyed at me. They were also irritated at me. They had many more emotions than just attraction. I think that's how you really attract a girl. And even in a book I'm reading, I'm seeing this. The character was being humorous, but he was also being stupid at times. He was also being immature at times. He was also being irritable at times. The female character goes through a spectrum of emotions, not just attraction. And I think this applies to real life, given my own experiences. And so elaborating more on who takes risks, businessmen especially, entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs take massive risk. They sacrifice everything for this one endeavor, hoping to make it big. Some do, some don't. I would say that the ones who do are the ones who work at it. The ones who took a risk, started from zero, built an empire because they worked for it. They worked harder than anyone else. But they also took the risk. They took the risk to be extremely successful. Because the thing is, by becoming an entrepreneur and quitting your job, you no longer have a safety net. You no longer have an income that you can rely on. And you don't have this until you make it big as an entrepreneur. Of course, at the same time, you can still have a job while you do your entrepreneurial duties. Right? You can still build yourself a somewhat safety net in case something fails. But regardless, being an entrepreneur has massive risks, but you do it for massive payoffs. And risk-taking is also present in marriage. Because what is a marriage? It's taking a risk with this partner. You're essentially saying, there are so many more fish in the sea, but I think you're the one that I'll spend the rest of my life with. You are sacrificing all the other fish in the sea and taking a risk to be with this one person instead. So to conclude everything, risk is necessary in life. And this is also why you see older people tending to stagnate. Older people take less and less risks. And so what happens is they don't become better. They stay as the way they are. They become more and more sheltered. And really by taking more risks, it's not that they don't become better. It's not that they stagnate really. They get worse. Because stagnating is becoming worse. Because if you don't become better day by day, the world will overtake you. Because life is sprinting a marathon constantly. Everyone's constantly running. Everyone's constantly on the grind. And if you stop, you fall. So I'm not saying that older people should be extremely reckless. I'm saying that older people should take risks. Older people especially should take risks because they aren't doing it right now. And they are only becoming worse for it. Your grandfather or your grandmother or you even may say that, I'm too old to become better. It's like, what's the point? Well, the point is, you have a decade more of life. Or if you don't, you have a couple years of life left. And a couple of years is a long time. It's not short. A couple of years is a long time. And how you decide to spend those years will dictate how you feel when you die. Were those years used well? Or were you just stagnating, waiting to die? In addition, as a man, taking risks is an absolutely necessary part of your life. If you do not take risks, as a man, you're not living the fullest life as a man. As men, we need to risk everything and anything to get what we want.